What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a new year, 2024, and a lot of big things that we're excited for this year. First off, we've got a ton of upgrades to equipment, including a new Sony a7 III, a new DJI Mini Pro 4, which will be getting a lot of use as as the temperatures warm up a little bit. We'll see what we can do as far as battery goes in the time being. But today's video is going to be all about spooling up your ice rod. So we're talking about spinning reels today, and I'm actually going to be setting up my new setup today, which I'm pretty excited about. I got a new St. Croix Tundra XLF. It's a very, very, very light rod, but we're going to be putting to the test this weekend on some big Michigan bluegills, and I'm excited to bring you guys along and hopefully get a cool video out of it. So we're going to walk you guys through from start to finish, the whole process, and kind of what my thoughts are as I'm getting my rig set up to get out on the ice. Enjoy, guys. The first thing I'm gonna ask myself every time I'm rigging up a new setup is, what do I need? What do I need to rig the rod? What do I need as far as line goes? And the first thing that I'm always gonna start with is a nice sharp pair of scissors. We're gonna use 3 different types of line to rig our rod. The first, which is going to be a mono backing, and this kind of doesn't allow your braid to slip. And I'm using 4-pound P line for this. For our braid, we're using this new Suffix 832 ice braid. I got a 50-yard spool of 4-pound test. And to wrap this segment up, we will need a spool of Seagar 4-pound Invisex. This is fluorocarbon and is used as leader material. Those fish really cannot see it, and it works super well in those clear water conditions. Something I find helpful is using a cardboard box and a wooden dowel in order to spool my line, just because it simplifies the process and, I don't have to have somebody else hold it for me. I do want to note right now that these line weights are very specific to the type of fishing I'm going to be doing. Obviously, if you guys are targeting bigger fish, you may have to adjust your pound test or your rod or your reel just to be able to compensate for those things. So I just wanted to make sure that people weren't confused why I'm using only 4-pound test. The first step to spooling your reel is going to be to attach your P-line mono backing to your spinning reel. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to tie 2 or 3 overhand knots, all while cinching them down one at a time. And what this is going to do is, as we reel it on, it's going to create kind of a grippy spot for that braid to stick to. And generally this is something you don't have to worry about as much in ice fishing, but during the regular fishing season, you do not want your braid to slip at all, as it can cause a lot of issues with your reel. In order to connect our mono to our braid, we're going to want to use a double uni knot. And I will send a link to a video that describes how to tie that knot in the description below. So if you're confused, feel free to check that out. And we're going to use our dowel and our cardboard box in order to wind our braid on here. And we're actually going to end up using this entire spool because it's a 50-yard spool, and I think the reel we have will hold almost 80 yards of this 4-pound braid, which is very thin in diameter. So your reel may hold more or less, and it'll usually say on the box the specifications. But I'm going to wind all this on and get back with you with how to tie our leader on. Moving on, we're actually going to tie another double uni knot here that connects our braid to our 4-pound Invisex leader. And this knot is extremely important, so make sure you tie it properly, as this will generally be the connector between your main line and your leader. And it's a good knot that I recommend everybody gets good at. Just a couple tips for you guys: make sure to moisturize it well before you're cinching it, and you really never want to tighten any knot ever unless it's moisturized. Alright guys, our last step here is going to be to tie on our bait, and this could be a variety of things depending on what you're targeting, but right here I'm tying on a Northland Tackle mini smelt jig. And this is a pre-rigged soft plastic that I'm going to be using to target big crappie, maybe even big bluegill if, waxworms and spikes aren't working. But that's about all we have to do to rig up our rod. Obviously we want to be trimming all of our ends really closely with the scissors and being really careful not to nick our line, making sure everything goes on smoothly. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial a lot. Alrighty guys, thank you a ton for stopping in and watching today. This was a fun little tutorial for me to make, and I hope you guys learned something new, or maybe if you didn't, I hope you just enjoyed the content. But I want to give a big shout out to Northland Tackle. I'm really excited to be using their jigs this year on the ice, along with St. Croix rods, Shimano reels. Gonna love this new Sedona. This rod, I can already tell, is gonna be the deal for those big bluegill. It's so super sensitive. I can feel pretty much anything with it, even little tiny twitches. So stay tuned to the channel. If you guys are new here, please make sure to subscribe, and we appreciate your support. As always, tight lines, keep on fishing.